Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Saaed to the Idea Center to teach us a little bit about the uses of AI in 2023. Saaed, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to be talking about something called ChatGPT. Has anyone heard of it before? Raise your hands if you've heard of it. Okay, so quite a bit of you have heard. Has anyone used it? A little bit, okay. Have you used it for your business? Okay, cool. So ChatGPT, for everyone, the few that haven't used it or don't know what it is, it's essentially, if we look up what is ChatGPT, it stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which sounds fancy, but in reality, it really is a chatting bot. You talk to it, except it's very smart. It's kind of like Siri. If you have Siri, you probably do, or Google Home, or Alexa, like from Amazon, except ChatGPT is a lot smarter. It's what's used nowadays, and it is owned by Microsoft now. So they recently bought the company OpenAI, and they house ChatGPT along a lot of other AI tools. So what it does is you give it a prompt, like a text, and then it responds to whatever prompt you gave it. That's kind of like if you were texting someone. So imagine like you're texting a robot almost. So how do you access ChatGPT? Well, you can go to your browser, Google Chrome or whatever you're using, and just type ChatGPT, and then it will show up the first thing. They also have a mobile app as well, so you can get it on your phone. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. And then once you go, just press on it, it will take you immediately there. So it's pretty easy. Now, this won't, you're not going to see this right off the bat. If you've never made an account or you don't have an account with them, it will ask you to register. That's also free. And then you log in, then it will take you over here. So I'll go over the interface very quickly. It is fairly simple, which is great. When you go in, when you make your account, you will actually start at GPT 3.5. What that means is this is their older model, this is their newer one. GPT-4 is paid, but you don't have to buy it. It is completely free to use the GPT 3.5. The only difference is that one is newer, it's smarter, it has more info, but GPT 3.5 works as well. Right here, it gives you example prompts, so you can press that and it will send you an example. This is where you type your prompt over here. And then right over here, this is very useful because it stores all your chats that you have with it, and then you can separate them. So if you have a chat where you want to talk about marketing, you make a chat for marketing. You can make one for finance, for Instagram. These are some of my older ones that I have used, but we're going to be touching base on these three. One of them is business model audit, which I think you'll get to in the future, and then logos and diagrams and charts. So just quick organizational tools. Now, with prompts, you have to be really, really specific and detailed for it to actually give you a good response and to answer your question fully. And that's where something called prompt engineering comes in place. And that's actually a new job now as prompt engineers use. So yes, AI does take away some jobs, but it also is producing new jobs with it as well. So prompt engineers, basically what they do is, instead of asking the AI, for example, how's the weather today? They engineer it differently so that it gives them everything about the weather, whether it's sunny, how hot it is, or cold, is it snowing, and such and such and such. So it's more detailed. There are a lot of websites like this one right here. This one is regarding business. So they have prompts pre-made for you that you can just input into ChatGPT, and then they'll give you exactly what you want. So that's the first one right there, business audit, and that's the one I'm going to be showing in just a second. But you can see this one is another useful one, so it can research your competition for you. So you can give it a city or a country or wherever your business is located, and then it will look for competitions that you can research. They have one for example, for research, pricing, other costs, and such. But we're just going to be looking at business model audit. So right here, I put in the same prompt. I didn't change it, the one that I got from the website. And then right here, you can see that it asked me for a few questions. So it wants to know what my business is. So you can see it's asking, what is my target audience? What is the value in it? The revenue? How am I making money? Customers? Where am I getting them? And such. So that once your business is ready, this is a business model audit. Basically, will question your business model entirely. It will tell you some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses in your business model as well. And then right here, you won't see this. This is only for me. The specific to your profile, this is basically, you can teach the model a little bit about you too. For example, if you're into IT, then you can say, you can tell the bot that, hey, I do IT, I know some development, such and such, and then it will start incorporating that info into the answers it gives you back. So that can be useful, but again, you're not going to have this right off the bat. I'll leave that up to you to discover on your own. So right here, I gave it some answers. For example, my business is selling all natural soaps that help keep the skin healthy and clean. Simple, that's what my business is. Now this is just an example, I don't actually have this business. And then market, I said everyone, question mark. And sometimes this helps because this tells the ChatGPT that sometimes you're not sure about an answer or a prompt, sorry. And this will get the bot to give you more or a more detailed answer. So it helps you even more. And then answered its other questions. And then you can see down here, it told us the strengths. You can read, so it's telling us we have broad target audience because we said everyone, which is great sometimes. We have a discount strategy, multiple channels, and value proposition. So these are all great, but the section I'm most interested in is areas for improvement. That's where it tells you the things that you may have missed, your weaknesses in your business model. So right here, it's saying target audience specificity is not great because sometimes when you target specific audience, it's a lot better. So this section specifically with ChatGPT helps a lot. This is where you will be spending most of the time, or you should be spending most of the time, because that's where you can focus. Now, ChatGPT, and I want to emphasize this, it isn't something you put a prompt and then you get it to do everything for you. It is an assistant. So it's an AI assistant, not an AI do it for you kind of thing. So you put your business model through here, through these different prompts, and then it will give you ideas and then change your business model accordingly to what it said. And as you can see right here, it says ChatGPT can make mistakes. So verify important information on your own, research and such. And this is kind of something to prep you. So for example, if you have a meeting with an investor, or you want to pitch your idea to someone and see if they can help you out, if you're looking for a mentor, this can help you. It can help you by making a template or a base default thing that you can go in and present. And it will refine it for you. So you can come up with a business model on your own, put it through ChatGPT, and then it will refine it for you to clean it up. Maybe use some fancy words if you want to use fancy words in your business model, some business like that. And that's the text-based thing. So it will also give you a recommendations section based on that prompt specifically, where it kind of summarizes everything it talked about. So narrow down your target audience, optimize your costs, such and such, and then enhance customer retention. So depending on your business, that's what it does, that's what it tells you. Now moving on, let's say you're a little more advanced, you finished your business model, you're ready to go, you've refined it through ChatGPT, and now you want to make content. Especially for YouTubers here, whoever is making digital content, this section I think you would appreciate a lot, which is logo. I called it logos, but in reality it's just images in general. So, images. It uses something called Dolly. Has anyone heard of Dolly before? Okay. So Dolly used to be separate, but their newest model, Dolly 3, is now actually attached into ChatGPT, which is great. Now, for the rest of you that haven't used it, the reason I say it's great, because before you had to engineer the prompt you give it. So Dolly is the same thing as ChatGPT, except you give it a prompt and it gives you an image. So you can tell it, make me a logo of a car company, and it will make you a logo of a car company. But you had to make that prompt on your own. Right now, how it's done is you tell ChatGPT what you want, and then ChatGPT will construct the prompt for you, give it to Dolly, and then produce the image for you. So for example, I said, can you make me a logo for my business that sells fly fishing products? And then we can see these are the two prompts it generated, and then it gave it to Dolly, and then these are the two images. Now these images do not exist on the internet, not at all. They are not copyrighted, they are not owned by anyone. These were just created by the bot, and then they are free to use. Now you'll notice something. ChatGPT and all AIs that make images are not the best with text. They will mess up. This one is a little better, but generally they're not great with text. They're also not great with hands. It's a different art-related thing, which means these, I don't recommend you use them as the final product. You can use those as references. So you can make a bunch for free, and then if you find one that you really like, you can give it to someone who knows what they're doing, a digital designer, an artist, or if you yourself can make these logos, then you have references like this. Sometimes it will give you really, really great ones that you can use. I've done a couple of other examples. Right here I said, can you make me one of an app called Simple Service? Yes?
So would be if we make a prompt in ChatGPT or Dolly, would we be able to copyright or trademark that?
Yes and no. So essentially it was created through ChatGPT or Dolly, but you do not own the rights to sell it, but you own the rights to use it. Yeah, which is why I suggest using the image as reference and not your final product. Good question. So I use one Simple Service. That's the business that I am running and working on, which is an app. So I told it a very brief description, very, very brief, like a line and a half. Can you give me ones for an app that is called Simple Service? So right here I said called Simple Service on purpose because now I'm telling it I want Simple Service incorporated in that logo because it's the business name. It features services like snow removal, electricians, plumbers, etc. So I told it what the app kind of does. And then once again, it generated things. And as you can see, it also messes up the name. But right here, I actually got it really well. And this is a good logo right here. This is already looks like a final product, except it's misleading a little because of all the snow, it kind of looks like it's only snow removal, right? It's not really all services. So then it's very flexible. You can tell it to change that. So right here, I told it, I like the first design, but can you not make it specific to one service? And it changes it a little, and it gave me this, which is pretty good. Now it put it on a phone because it already knows it's an app, so it already knows it's on a phone, and this is what it would look like. It got everything right. So sometimes it just takes a couple of tries for it to actually get it right. And this image looks pretty cool. It's actually, I'll probably use it for Simple Service as reference because I don't see any errors with it, and it's very clean. And then I told it, nice, give me some variations. So if you like something, you can also tell it variations is another keyword. So ChatGPT has specific keywords that it can read. You can look them up on Google, they're everywhere. But variations is one of those words. Once it hears that, it will give you variations of the image or the prompt you were asking for. And then it gave me some variations. And one last time, it also messes up the wording. So wording, just be careful with it. It will mess that up. And this looks cool as well, but these are some of the variations. Now I know someone who's doing the paranormal investigation podcast. That's you, Hannah. All right, so because I'm a big fan of paranormal stuff, I also put in give me one for a podcast about paranormal investigations, and it gave me this one. So you can use this as a reference or even a final product, but again, I recommend you change it a little, make it personal to you, and not just use it right off the bat. Yeah.
If Hannah changes that significantly, can she then copyright it and not resell it, but use it and own it?
Yes. Yeah. You can even change it in a minor way. You can remove these numbers. They don't make sense. I don't know why they're there. And it's yours. You created it. So that's the great thing about ChatGPT. They don't copyright you. Whatever you make, they don't care about. So that's the great thing about it. Like you can take this as it is and use it as your own, and you won't have any issues. But it's always great to make it your own, to change it a little. So it's not, like I said, it's an assistant rather than an AI do it for you kind of thing. Because this, once you delete this chat, it no longer exists anywhere. This is only accessible by you. It is a private chat. This is encrypted. Even ChatGPT doesn't have access to these, unless, of course, you're breaking their guidelines, and you can read about their guidelines on their own. But this is yours. Whatever you do is yours. So I scrolled down, and I said, give me 4. So sometimes it won't actually listen to everything you say because it takes too much processing power. And that's why it only gave us 1. And sometimes some of the things also don't make sense. Again, with a text. That's why I'm like, you should change it on your own. And then I told it to give me variations. and see these are some of the variations over here. Cool. So that's the logos and pictures, and it doesn't do video yet, but they are working on it. So potentially you can even make ads using ChatGPT, which is great. Obviously they won't be the best quality, but they are, again, used for reference. So let's move to diagrams and charts. So this one uses an app called Diagrams. It's in the name. And this one, let's say you're far into the business, you're making sales, or you're spending a lot of money everywhere and you want to keep track of it or make charts. This will do it for you. So, and this one won't mess up the text because it takes the text that you give it and puts it exactly. So you rest assured, the text won't be as funny as the previous one. So right here, I said, can you make me an example diagram of sales for a week? And then it made me a diagram for sales for a week. And then the other things, I'll go over this very quickly. The other things I told it is just, can you give me more examples of diagrams, charts, and such? And then this is a line chart that it does, a bar chart, a pie chart, it did too. And then at the end, once it gets one that you really like, you can tell it to render it. Render is another keyword that ChatGPT uses, and it basically takes that exact same image and makes it better for you, more appealing, and more easily read, so it's not messy. And then it rendered this over here, and it even gave you a legend over here. Now obviously I didn't tell it to input any of these are things it just inputted on its own because I didn't give it any prompt. And that's, again, we go back to your prompt has to be as detailed as possible. It has to be very simple for it to read because essentially you're talking to a robot. It will only go off based on what you tell it. Any questions on ChatGPT and anything that it can do or can't do? Yeah.
You said the other day that you'd use it for stock market and predicting and or trading. Yeah. And you said you do that automatically. How do you do that?
Yeah. So ChatGPT doesn't do that. However, it's the same system. What I used is a bot called Forex Fury. I can look it up here very quickly. This one is expensive, so heads up. And Forex Fury basically trades in the market. Now, it doesn't trade in the normal market where you buy stocks and companies. It trades in the dollar market. So that's the Forex part. So for example, the Canadian to American dollar, the Australian to Canadian dollar, and such and such. So this is what I use. This is the bot that I use, Forex Fury, and it comes with an advanced AI already built in, and they have some templates that you can use. For example, you can use one that has no risk, or low risk, sorry, no risk, that doesn't exist in trading. So it has low risk, or you can use one that's very aggressive. That one will spend a lot of money very, very quickly and might lose it or might gain 10 times the amount you would usually get with low risk. So that's what I use. It's not connected to ChatGPT, but it does use the same AI mechanism per se. Yeah, good question. Yeah.
What is the price of that or subscription cost?
The price, so I believe this one is, let's see. So this is their pricing. It starts, this is American by the way, so $230, and then you can only have one account, or $440 and you can only have two. I have the gold membership because I'm not an enterprise. I don't need 2 accounts or more, so I got that one. And then honestly, if you use it really well and then you take the time to learn, you can make that in a month. You can make that back. And then over the time, it will keep increasing more and more. But yeah, that's the bot that I use. Any more questions about this one? Cool. So, one extra thing that I wanted to show sometimes is when you're talking to ChatGPT, it doesn't have to be about business. You can go and talk to it about app development or something else, and it will give you interesting things. Like when I was talking to it about my app and developing it, it gave me something really, really interesting, which is another app that also uses AI called Bubble. So Bubble helps you create apps and websites with no coding experience. Although coding experience would be beneficial to have, but this is great. And that's another thing about ChatGPT is if you want something, but you don't know where to find it, ChatGPT does, because it's the internet. You're essentially asking all of the internet, which is ChatGPT, because it's connected to the internet, so it knows everything. So you can ask it, hey, the prompt I gave it is like, hey, I want to develop an app. Is there a website or a place I can do that? with ease. And it gave me Bubble. It recommended others, but Bubble seemed the most promising. And it's a simple drag and drop. I can scroll down here, and this is what it looks like. They have a quick demonstration. It's a quick drag and drop, and that's how you program an app. So again, this can be used as a reference, not necessarily the final product. It can be if you spend a lot of time developing it on your own, but it can be used as a reference, and then you can give it to a developer and say, this is what I want this button to do, and such, and then they can develop it. And it would help them a lot because they already have a reference to go off of, rather than just you telling them I want this and this and this. So the more information, the better. And that's how I use AI in business. It assists me rather than doing things for me, really. And another thing I wanted to show for people who are interested in drop shipping. Who's interested in drop shipping? One person? All right. So drop shipping, so this is really for you. Drop shipping is something I use a lot with AI because whenever I am putting on a new product, before I go into it, does anyone know what drop shipping is? Everyone know it? Okay, not everyone? Okay, so I'll explain it very quickly. Drop shipping is basically choosing a product and then putting it on a website and marketing it to sell, except you never touch the product. When a consumer buys your product, that request goes to the supplier. The supplier will ship it to the consumer, and you don't have to touch the product. You don't have to keep the inventory. That's basically the essential of drop shipping. So whenever I do drop shipping, I choose a product, and I very rarely go with the description that comes from the supplier because most of the suppliers are in China, so the English is not great. Some of them are, which is fantastic, and some of the images sometimes are also not well marketed. So I kind of have to change that, change the title of the product and such. And that's how I use AI or ChatGPT. I give it the full description of the product and what it is, what it does, and then it will generate me a very professional description of the product. And then sometimes it will even give you hashtags. If you're posting about it on TikTok or Twitter or whatever it is, it will give you hashtags that would go really, really well with it. And TikTok, everyone has TikTok? Yeah, everyone has TikTok. So TikTok is great for businesses. If you are doing dropshipping especially, it's great. I will just show you my results that I have. So this is from one product for dropshipping. From October 5th till 19th, so not even a full month, we have reached over 100,000 impressions based on only $600. So marketing on TikTok is fairly fair, and this is how many clicks, and this is how many sales just from that. So you can imagine I sell the product for $30 American. You can imagine how many that is and how much I lost. So this is a great thing with TikTok. You can, yeah.
What are you selling?
So what am I selling? Right now I have a door handle that is techie. It's a 4-in-1. It comes with fingerprint, password, key, and through mobile app.
And where are you dropshipping it from?
China.
Like, what are you using? Like, is it just like, do you know the warehouse and supplier, or are you using an app?
No, so I use another app which also uses AI called AutoDS. So what AutoDS does basically is you can go onto it. I'm not logged in on this account, so I can't really show, but you can go onto it, and then it will give you products that you can browse, and then it even has sections that are like top-rated products or most sold, and it also has a section where you can go to pre-established stores, look them up, and then you can see their top sold product. You can kind of copy or see what's working for them, so you can kind of use them as your test subjects, if anything. And then you can learn from them. And that's how I do it. So sometimes I also go on TikTok and look up, you've probably seen the hashtag, things I found on TikTok or things TikTok made me buy. Well, I use these hashtags to go on and learn the products that are being sold now on TikTok. And my store is called The Trendy Place. So the only products I sell are the ones that are trending. Once they're out of trend, I remove them, that is it, and then a new product comes in. So at that time, a door handle is still trending at the moment, which is why I'm selling it. And yeah, I use AutoDS. You can go there, you can look at the product, and then you can import it onto your store. And then you don't have to do much. That's the thing. Once this is imported from your store, that's it. You don't have to talk to the supplier. You don't have to email them. If there is a refund, you just hit refund on the store wherever you're hosting it. I host it on Shopify. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Do you do further marketing for the items that you're dropshipping, or do you just rely on different creators doing that for you?
So I actually don't rely on creators. For TikTok, I have a account that generates the views organically, and that's just me posting the ad as a video and having it grow over time. And I do ads. So sometimes you're scrolling on TikTok and you see an ad come by, it says sponsored. So that's how I run it. You can run it through creators. It's great, but sometimes they can be pricey if you're just starting out, but they can also be beneficial. So you also have to evaluate your risks and costs. Good question. So yeah, once you import it, and let's say a customer is not happy, they want a refund or something, you just hit a refund and then the product goes back to the supplier, or sometimes it doesn't, just stays with the consumer. So that's the great thing about this. You never touch the product, and that's why dropshipping is one of my favorite business models. Yeah, any questions about dropshipping? Yeah, cool. That's it. Yeah, that's all I have about presentation. Yeah,
Thank you so
very
much, Saaed. Very
Good.